All right, guys, we are back ready to find out what happens to Mr. Whiskas in chapter 9. The title of this chapter is The Witch, Kiri Kiri. The children dressed themselves again after they had been to bed and slept. Molly had a little alarm clock, and she set it for 11:45. What time is that? 11:45 is 11:45 p.m. because they're getting up in the middle of the night. So they awoke in good time for their adventure. Chingy was waiting for them. "We can't go in the wishing chair," he said. "It hasn't grown its wings again. I think it's asleep because it gave a tiny snore just now." "How funny," said Molly. "Oh, Chingy, I do feel excited." "Come on," said the pixie. "There's no time to lose if we want to catch the underground train." He led the children to a big tree at the bottom of the garden. He twisted a piece of the bark and the door slid open. There was a narrow stairway in the tree going downwards. Molly and Peter were so surprised to see it. "Go downstairs," Chingy said to them. "I'll just shut the door behind us." They climbed down and came to a small passage. Chingy joined them and they went along it until they came to a big turnstile where a solemn gray rabbit sat holding a bundle of tickets. We know a gray rabbit. She's not solemn, she's a happy rabbit. What's her name? What's the gray rabbit we know? Yes. "We want tickets for the witch Kiri Kiri," said Chingy. The rabbit gave them 3 yellow tickets and let them through the turnstile. There was a little platform beyond with a railway line running by it. Oh, this is much like the rabbit in the story, but this one's name is Buns. All right, thank you. All right. Almost at once a train appeared out of the darkness. Its lamps gleamed like 2 eyes. There were no carriages, just open trucks with cushions in it. The train was very crowded, and the children and Chingy found it difficult to find seats. Gnomes, pixies, rabbits, moles, elves, and hedgehogs sat in the trucks, chattering and laughing. The 2 hedgehogs had a truck to themselves, for they were so prickly that no one wanted to sit by them. The train set off with much clattering. It stopped at station after station, and at last came to one labeled Kiri Kiri Station. Chingy and the children got out. Kiri Kiri is such a rich and powerful witch that she has a station of her own. This is my plan, children. It's no use asking the witch for Whiskers our cat. She just won't let us have her. And it's no use trying to get her back by magic because the witch's magic is much stronger than mine. We must get her by a trick." "What trick?" asked the children. "We'll creep into her little garden," said Chingy, "and we'll make scrapey noises on the wall like mice. We'll squeak like mice too, and the witch will hear us and send Whiskers out to catch the mice. Then we'll get her, run back to the station, and catch the next train home." "What a fine plan," said Peter. "It's so simple that it can't go wrong." Do we have any predictions? I predict that when you have a plan that's so simple it can't go wrong, that it's probably going to go a little wrong. Very good. "Shh," said Chingy, pointing to a large house in the distance. "That's Kiri Kiri's house." They had left the station behind and had come up into the open air again. The moonlight was bright enough to show them the road, and they could see everything very clearly indeed. They slipped inside the witch's wicket gate. "You go to that end of the house, and I'll go to the other," said Chingy. So Peter and Molly crept to one end and began to scratch against the wall with bits of stick. While Chingy did the same thing at the other end, they squeaked as high as they could, exactly like mice. They heard a window being thrown up and saw the witch's head outlined against the lamplight. Mice again, she grumbled. Ugh, Whiskers, come here, catch them, catch them. Whiskers jumped out into the garden. The witch slammed down the window and drew the blind. Molly made a dash for the big black cat and lifted her into her arms. Whiskers purred 19 to a dozen and rubbed her soft head against Molly's hand. Chingy and Peter came up with delight. The plan worked beautifully, said Peter. Come on, let's go to the station. And then the most unfortunate thing happened. Peter fell over a bush and came down with a loud clatter on the path, and at once the window flew up again and Kiri looked out. She shouted a very magic word and slammed the window down again. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, groaned Chingy at once. What's the matter? Asked Molly, scared. She put a spell around the garden, she said. We can't get out of here. She'll find us here in the morning. Can't get out, said Peter, going to the gate. What nonsense. I'm going anyway. But although he opened the gate, he couldn't walk out. It was as if there was an invisible wall around the garden. The children couldn't get out anywhere. They forced their way through the hedge, but still the invisible wall seemed to be just beyond, and there was no way of getting out at all. Whatever shall we do? Asked Molly. We can't do anything, said Chingy gloomily. Peter was awfully silly to go and fall over like that, just when we had everything done so well. I'm terribly sorry, said Peter. I do wish I hadn't. I didn't mean to. Well, we'd better go and sit down on the porch, said Chingy, who was shivering. It's warmer there. They sat huddled together on the porch, and Molly took Whiskers on her knees, saying she would make a nice hot water bottle. They were nodding off to sleep, for they were all very tired, when Whiskers suddenly began to snarl and spit. The children and Chingy woke up in fright. They saw something flying around the garden like a big black bird. Molly stared, and then she leapt up and whispered as loudly as she dared, It isn't a bird, it's the dear old wishing chair. It's come to find us. Chingy gave a chuckle of delight. He ran to the chair and took hold of it. Come on, he said to the others. The only way out of this bewitched garden is flying up and up. We can't get out any other way. The wishing chair is just what we want. They all got into the chair. Whiskers was on Molly's knee. The chair flapped its wings, rose into the air, and flew almost to the clouds. What will old Kiri say in the morning when she finds no one in her garden, not even Whiskers, giggled Chingy. She'll think she'd been dreaming. I wish I could see her face. The chair flew to the playroom. The children said goodnight to Chingy, and with Whiskers in her arms, Molly ran with Peter up the path to their house. They were soon in bed, fast asleep. As for Whiskers, you may be sure she never went to sleep on the wishing chair again. And that is the end of that chapter. And here's the picture of when Peter fell. And there's Kiri in the background. All right. So, problem solved with a little bit of a mini problem, but they solved it because the wishing chair saved the day once again. All right, I will see you guys soon. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing what adventure comes next on the wishing chair.